Hello and welcome back to the garden. And in today's video, I'm going to try and create a summer display on the steps up here at the top of the white garden. And I've got some gorgeous shrubs, perennials and annuals to add to all of these terracotta containers. They're all different sizes. I've placed them where I think I'd like them, but now is the time to add all of the plants. So let me bring you in. I'll turn the camera around and you can see the plants that I've got to use today. Here's a close-up of all of the containers, which are very weathered, which happens pretty much overnight in my climate. No need to add anything to age them. They age so quickly. But this is a container that I planted up earlier, and I'm going to do another one exactly the same. So I'll go through the plants that I used on that, or in that. Then you have this lovely array of gorgeous white flowers. I have begonias at the front here, which are my absolute favourite annual. I use them in every display every year. Got daisy plants, petunias, got a Senosio angel wings at the back. Got a dahlia, which has turned a shade of pink now that it's finished flowering. It did open white. Lovely hydrangea shrub that my husband bought me when he went to the supermarket. Senosio angel wings. Got some fuchsias that I grew myself. Got a nice green cupressus shrub at the back. Got gara, hydrangeas, petunia, verbena, cosmos, quite a few more. So let's start planting up the first container and we'll see how it goes. I'm starting with the easy one first, and I'm just adding some of this slow release fertilizer, which is ideal for containers and baskets, and it gives a 6-month feed, which is more than enough in my short flowering climate. And the hydrangea is the first one I'm going to add. Now this is one of those hydrangeas that you buy from supermarkets. It's not a named variety and they don't tend to last too long. I've tried planting these in the garden and yes, they do grow, but trying to get them to flower again, it's really difficult in these types of hydrangeas. It's the type that you also buy at florist shops as well when you go out looking for a gift for someone. So very pretty, get them to flower for the season, and then if you want to try and grow them in the ground, give them a go. Tried myself, failed miserably, but they're very pretty for the season. Now all of these smaller containers are only going to have one variety of plant in them. So let me plant all 4 or 5 of them and I'll put you on a time lapse and you'll see what they look like at the end. Next, in these 2 very small shallow containers, I'm going to use this If I can get it out the pot. This annual, to me an annual, Centuria Mercury. How pretty is that? It's a bit pot bound, so we'll just give it a bit rough up. And as usual, I'm going to add the slow release fertiliser. And around this particular plant, I am going to add very simple lobelia. This second shallow pot, I've added the same centrepiece, the Centuria Mercury, but this time I have surrounded it with petunias. I think this is probably going to be the last container. And this one is pretty much on its last legs. I don't think it'll last another year, but never mind, I'm using it for this year. First plant to add is a cupressus, and this is Gold Crest Wilma. Now I use these in all of the containers that I build every year, and they last for years. I've got several in different positions around in the garden. And this one, putting it just off centre at the back, grows to about 3 feet. It's not a huge tall variety, however I have seen it grow larger, but they do recommend it for containers, wall baskets, that sort of thing. So that one is going to the back. The next set of plants is this one. Now I love to buy these. Our garden centres and nurseries sell these every year. They're called Trixie pots, and they have 3 different annuals in them. And if you've never got round to growing your own annuals, which I haven't this year, I've only managed to grow cosmos and a few other things, but this does, trying to match the one to the other side, this does provide a solution to that. And the garden centres are full of different variations of annuals and colours, and this one is called White Wedding. Next, I'm going to add one of my favourite, again, probably is my favourite container. This is a perennial. This is Senosio Angel Wings, and I love this. And I have them in several containers, and I'll show you at the end of the video the containers that I made last year. And it makes a lovely central statement in the front of any container, hanging basket, wall basket. And I can actually get them through the winter, believe it or not. In the ground, probably not, because they wouldn't like the wet conditions, but here in my mild climate, I can easily get them through the winter. And last but not least, I'm filling in with a few other annuals. This is the end result. Used all of the plants that I had. Still have some empty containers at the back there, but I'll take a snapshot of each container now, and I will add them to the screen with all of the plants that I've used in each individual container. And then if you're interested in any, you can scroll through, press pause, and take a note of any of the plants. Now, there's quite a few of you who've asked me about the containers that I planted up last summer. So let me just show you 2 which I have flanked either side of my potting table. And you can see they're just doing fabulously. This one is Fatsia japonica spider's web at the back, Senosio Angel Wings. It's got an ivy which is pretty much taken over the pot, and then a grass tucked around the side here which I think is Carex Feather Falls. And then I have the same container on the other side with the same plants. Lots of new leaves on the Japonica spider's web. So they're both pretty happy, both excelling. But now let's plant a hanging basket, which I have got everything ready here, and I thought I would do it quite close up so you can see how I plant it. First job, disconnect the chain at one of the ends. This one just attaches it onto here, but I've just used a small pair of pliers to disconnect it. It's so much easier when you come to hang it at the end. Secondly, I've already filled it full of compost, and I'm going to add the slow release fertiliser like I normally do in any of these summer containers. And then I'll start with the centrepiece, and I have two for this. I have a fuchsia, which I've grown myself. It's one of the few plants that I've grown this year. It's a bit lopsided. It's probably not as good as what it would be if you bought one, but it will grow and nobody will know the difference in a couple of months' time. And the next one I'm going to add is a geranium. Now you have to be careful when buying geraniums. This was a pack of 4 geraniums in one pot, and it was cheaper to buy it this way than to buy it or to buy them as individual plants. So much cheaper. And it didn't make any difference when I pulled it apart. It hasn't even rooted in to the compost around it. So that is the centrepiece. Then around the outside I have got 3 helichrysums, and I used this last year. These are pretty pot bound. Make sure everything's well watered as well, because obviously hanging baskets are notorious for drying out. But I used this last year, 3 of these, and 3 was enough in this basket. And I've got extra compost too if I need it. So I'll just put them evenly around the outside. Just break those roots up a little bit. It's a little bit pot bound. Put one here at this side. And then one at the back. And I do find it easier when I'm making hanger baskets to stand them on a container. And then you can just spin it around to your heart's content. And one at the back. So that's what we're looking like so far. And then I'm going to fill in with just one other plant, and it is my favourite. Again, I used these last year, and it is the begonia non-stop white. And I'm just going to fill them in between all of the helichrysum, and you should get a good 3 or 4 in, depending on the size. These ones are quite chunky, they're quite big, so I'll probably only get 3 in. Sometimes these helichrysums get in the way. And then probably just 1 or possibly 2 more. Now I've got 2 different packs here, because one of the packs that I picked has a lot of lemon in, and I obviously in the white garden I don't want to add lemon. And I'll possibly get 1 more in here. Yep. I do like to cram in as much as I can. They're only in here for a short period of time, a couple of months. And that is basically it. This is the hanging basket that I did a couple of days ago. It started to fill out already in a few days. And I've hung the one that I've just completed today on the other side of the log store. This one looks a little bit empty, but give it a couple of weeks and you'll see such a lot of growth on it. Now the last container today is for shade, and this is pretty much full shade. Tiny bit of brightness in the morning and late evening, but no sunshine. So it's very hard to find annuals, flowers in this kind of situation. The rhododendrons are just about finished behind me. All of the spring bulbs are now finished. So you really need to concentrate on foliage and texture. But there are a few things you can plant. And this isn't a stilby, and this is destined for the bog garden in the autumn time, but it's a lovely white one. And this will really brighten up this section of between two borders. I've got two big shade borders either side. And this is a stilby white, a stilby Gloria? West Gloria, a stilby West Gloria. Lovely white plumes of flowers, very pretty. The next thing is a fern that I bought last winter. And you can see all of these dead fronds, all of the dead foliage. £1, that's all it was. And look at it, it's absolutely stunning. Great time to buy perennials and ferns and plants. Autumn, winter, when the garden centres are concentrating on Christmas, go and have a look on the bargain shelves to see if you can find anything. This was such a good deal and I got 2 of them. Only thing is, I don't know what it is. It could be a Dryopteris, Polysticum. It's possibly a Polysticum, I don't know. But I've been watering it every day because obviously I'm putting it in a container that will get a lot of water, and it doesn't seem to mind water. So it's obviously a fern, not necessarily for a dry situation. So I'm going to plant that. Oh, it's very root bound. I'll just tease that a little bit. But again, this will go down, this one in the stumpery in the autumn. So I intend to put that just at the front there. And hopefully that looks good. Next I have 2 lovely hostas that were given to me by a neighbour. These were young hostas, so I could put that in the front there, which I think would look really good. Or to add a little bit more brightness, I could put that further back and add a few of the white begonias, because this is the only bedding plant that I know will flower with quite nice big blooms, non-stop white, in this very shaded spot that never gets any sunshine. So I could put a few like that in the front, and I'll add the hosta further back. And I'll put this hosta to the back. And I just think that's so pretty for a very full shade spot. But that's it for today. I'll make another one of these up for the other side, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Definitely my favourite 2 containers that I've made so far this year. I just love them. Who would have thought?